So guys, today I'm going to be talking about why I'm giving up at 32. I'm too old and there's just no hope. But no, I'm just kidding. So here's the deal. Okay. I've been noticing over the last few years, especially millennials, people my age, what would you call that? Gen X. It's not Gen Z, it's I think Gen X. But anyways, I've been noticing people my age and even younger are basically just at a point where they're giving up on being successful. They're giving up on, ever having any kind of fulfillment. They basically are just settling for life. Okay, I'm gonna eat this yogurt bowl while I'm talking to you guys too, because I'm running around getting stuff done, getting ready for this winter storm we have coming in Georgia. But anyways, you need to understand, especially if you're a younger guy. That shit is so good, man. That shit is so good. You need to understand if you're a younger guy, because I was 18 once, and I didn't know shit. I didn't know any of the things that I'm telling you guys about. Okay? I didn't really think that I was going to ever make a lot of money. And I never really thought that I was going to have any level of success or become somebody that people actually took serious. Maybe that was just self-limiting beliefs. But I never thought that I was going to be anything above average, So I spent a good majority of my life, my adult life, basically just thinking that, I was just going to work forever and I wasn't going to have any kind of success in the world. I guess what I should say is not that I wouldn't have any success, but I wouldn't have any above average success. And what I realized throughout the past few years is that that's bullshit. And the only reason I was thinking that way is because I had put this cap on my mindset, thinking that, seeing all these people around, they say comparison is a thief of joy. So I was seeing all these people around me, especially that were the same age as me, doing, or even younger, and doing better than me. And I always thought that I wasn't ever going to be at that level. And what I realized as I start to get older is that there's no guarantee in life that you're going to be successful. But as long as you try your hardest, you can never fail. And I could tell you the times where I didn't have a lot of confidence and I didn't have a lot of, I don't even want to say motivation, but momentum to keep going, to keep doing what I needed to do, were the worst moments of my life, because I just felt helpless. And Now at 32, I've been through so many different things in my life that I have a whole different outlook on things. And I would say the number one thing for me is just to keep pushing, to keep going, and to keep trying no matter what. Even if you're broke, even if you're not where you want to be in life, you always have to keep pushing. Because think about it, what are your alternatives to not trying? Your alternative is to stay the same. And I think the biggest fear that people have is, and I know for me, it was not the uncertainty, it was the fear of not knowing. Or not trying, I guess. So I don't know if that makes sense. But basically what I'm trying to say is that you don't want to grow up and get into your, like if you're like me and you're 32 or you're in your 30s and you don't want to be 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 and have regrets. Okay? So it's better to take a risk now than it is to have regret that you didn't try, that you didn't do something that was out of your comfort zone. And I know for me, personally, that's just like the number one thing that I'm really trying to practice in my day-to-day life. It's not being the best every single day. It's just trying to be better every single day. And even if I fail, I mean, what do you have to lose? And I mean, think about it. As long as you try, you can never lose. Okay? As long as you try, you can never lose. That's the way I look at it. So as long as you try, you can never lose. Just remember that. So that's something I always try to tell people. And I think because of social media and because of how quickly the world is moving, I think everybody is so in such a hurry to get somewhere quick. They don't take time to stop and just enjoy the fact that they're in a better position than they were before. I think it's a lot of, it has to do with just being grateful for where you are instead of just always looking at the future. And I'm not saying to not plan. I'm always thinking long term, like, 5-10 years down the road. But, I have to stop and I have to reflect on where I was a year ago. Okay, where I was 2 years ago, where I was 5 years ago, where I was 10 years ago. And I only compare myself to where I was and not to where everybody else is at. So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but you have to be grateful for where you are right now and just be like, I'm so grateful for the position I'm in right now. Even though I'm not exactly where I want to be, I know that things could be so much worse. And I'm not saying compare yourself to the most extreme situation. I'm just saying compare yourself to where you were, and as long as you're doing better every day, then that's the only metric that you can base your life on. You can't base it on anything else. You can't base it on other people, because everything is a metric and everything is an illusion to a sense. So you see other people doing really well and you're like, wow, they're doing so much better than me, but you don't know the whole situation. So I've met a lot of people that seemed like they were doing really well, but then I come to find out that they weren't doing so well. I've worked with these people. I've had clients that were that way. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that you can't compare your situation up to anybody else. You have to always have gratitude for where you are. And I think that's what's going to get you far in life. It's definitely helped me over the last few years. And, another thing too is you always have to focus on your strengths. People focus on, I was telling my youngest brother this the other day, he was having an issue with something and he called me and I just told him, he's like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to, go and start doing cold plunges and I'm just not doing well. And I said, listen, just stop for a second. Okay, I want you just to understand that you're doing fine. Like, you're doing fine. You have to give yourself some credit, because what's the point of continuing when you don't have anything to look forward to? Like, you don't have any small wins that you're accumulating, like a snowball effect. Like, it's just building and building and building and getting bigger, and you're getting better, and things are getting, not necessarily easier, but like you're able to handle adversity better. You're able to deal with your life in a healthier and a calmer manner. So, I tried to explain to him that, you need to just take a step back and just focus on the things that you can control in your life and just take one step at a time. Okay. Don't try to solve everything in one day. Just focus on the things that you can control that are right in front of you, and then worry about the rest later. Okay, life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you just want to make sure that you're giving yourself some credit. When you feel like you're not doing enough, you give yourself some credit and give yourself some grace so that you can keep pushing, you can keep going. You have the confidence to continue. So that's all I got for you guys. I just wanted to share that information and just give you guys some hope, because there's a lot of creators out there that I see, and I'm not trying to bash anybody, but there's a lot of creators that are like just doom and gloom about everything. And it's tough out there. And I don't want, oh God, piece of granola stuck in my throat. I don't want to see any more guys suffer and to struggle with the things that I had to go through when I was younger, just because lack of knowledge. It's not because I was not smart or I wasn't willing to learn. I just didn't know the information. And there's a saying, you can learn from your own mistakes or you can learn from other people's mistakes. And unfortunately for guys, most of the time we learn from our own mistakes, and it makes us better, but it also causes a lot of pain and suffering. And the older I get, and for you younger guys who are 18, 19, 20 years old, like, you'll start to see this as you get older. Like, you just get tired of learning from your own mistakes. You're like, fuck this, I don't want to keep doing this. I want not an easier path, but a more efficient path in life. Okay? So if you can take anything away from this, just remember, if you're in your 30s, it's not too late, you're not too old, but you do need to understand that Nobody's going to hand it to you. Okay, you have to continue to try no matter what. You have to keep pushing no matter what. Okay? And for all the younger guys that are watching this, just make good decisions, learn from your mistakes, try to be around the right people, try to enjoy yourself along the way, but don't rush the process. That's I can't stress that enough. Do not rush the process. And you'll see that life is going to have a lot of ups and downs, but as long as you just keep trying, I can't stress that enough. Keep trying. Try different things. Try different types of business. And another thing, and I know that I keep saying, that's all I have, but there's a few more things that I am thinking about as we're going along here. So, or maybe one more thing, I don't know. But something else that you need to think about is a lot of people focus on making money and they focus on the immediate return. Like, I need to make money so that I can get X. Whether it's a car, whether it's moving to a different city, whether it's, having a certain lifestyle. But what happens is, and you see this all the time with people that are super successful, they say things like, I made all this money, but I'm not very fulfilled. And the reason why they don't have that fulfillment is because they spent so much time focusing on making the money, doing whatever it took to get there, whether it was staying up super late. And if you're an entrepreneur, you understand this. Everything's on you. You're staying up late, you're working long days, you're running out of money. There are months where you have the highest highs, and then there are months where you have the lowest lows. And it's very stressful. And if you don't have a team, like if you're a solopreneur like me, then it all falls back on you. Especially if it's something that you don't actually, I don't want to say passion, but you're just not aligned with it. Does that make sense? Because I know for me, in the business that I'm in, I was really, really good at like what I'm doing. I run a mobile detailing business, and I'm really, really good at what I've done. And I've been in it my whole life. My dad was in the detailing business. My uncle owned car wash and detail centers. And I worked in the industry, and then I started my own business. So I've been in it for my entire life. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm aligned with it. Okay, I'm only 32. So I've been successful. I've built a business. I've developed a skill, gotten really good at it. But there comes a point where you have to say, okay, like, is this really fulfilling me? And if it's not, it doesn't mean you need to just burn the boats and just say, screw it, I'm not going to do it anymore. But you have to figure out what it is that you're fully aligned with, that makes you want to get up in the morning. Okay, and I don't mean like a routine. I don't mean like I have to get up and I have to do this, I have to do that. Like, you actually want to get up, and you actually are excited to get up in the morning. And it's not going to be like that every day, but you need to find something that really like gets the wheels turning. And by doing that, you'll start to build momentum, and you'll start to build more confidence, and you'll start to see that things will compound, and then eventually you'll be doing what it is you really were set out to do. Okay? And everybody's different. So like what I do in my life is not what somebody else is going to want to do, and you can't convince people of something that they're not convinced of themselves. So those are things that I have grown to appreciate over the years. And I'm not perfect by any means, but like I said, if you continue to try, if you take one step and put it in front of the other and you just keep pushing, you will never fail. Just always remember that. No matter what anybody says, you will never fail. Just try your hardest and keep pushing. Try to do the right thing and treat people right, and I promise you, you will be successful in any field of your choosing. So I'm going to finish eating this bowl, but I will talk to you guys soon, okay?